But as always, man, welcome to the Freeman Cage podcast where we lock into a free state around each and every pay week on all three of course. To my right, I got my main guy, my ace. My left, my right this week, Shawn, but I know him as the Senor Lee on all your socials.
You know.
And me, I'm Kenny, man, known as Ken Katnick on all those socials. But yo, man, we here, we in the flesh, man. It's live, man. Happy February to you, my brother.
Same to you, man. Yeah, it's been a minute, guys. I know y'all were used to us been doing the whole virtual thing, man, but we had to bring it back in person, man. You know what I'm saying? To just get this year started off right. Know what I mean?
You started off right, man. But it's a very important month for us as well, you know. It's Black History Month, man. Before all the particulars, man, how you been, man? How's your week, man?
Oh, it's been smooth, man. You know what I'm saying? Going into February, just preparing for that rush that's about to come. You know, I think a lot of people are starting to get their bearings for the new year. And it's a lot of expectations professionally, personally, but all around good stuff, man. How about you?
Pretty much the same. Can't complain. NFL's coming to an end soon. A little bittersweet. You know how it goes. But hey, man, All-Star break is on the way, so
yeah,
they'll pick up for us right on time.
That's right.
That, everything's been good, man. Can't complain.
Cool, man. So listen, if you follow our lives, you know what I'm saying, I talked about the Moldovan restaurant I went to during last week, but yesterday I had the chance to visit Solar Domingo. It's a restaurant out in Jersey, in Belleville, actually, and it was really cool, man. First off, happy birthday to Aiden, man. 16. Love you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Growing into a great, massive young man. Like, this dude has hands like he needs to be like a wide receiver. Like, yeah, man. Like, I feel bad for the first dude he has to slap. You know what I mean?
Nobody wants to be that
guy. But yo, we get to the restaurant and it was a really nice setup. Had that real homely feel to it. And you know, the food starts. First of all, the white sangria was on point. So shout out to y'all for that, man. Not a lot of restaurants make sangria really good, but you ever been to one of those restaurants where the food just keeps coming and coming, bro?
Yeah, I had a couple Brazilian experiences like that, but you don't want to tell them no, especially if the food is good. You know what I mean? But at some point, it's just gluttony at this point. It's like I got no more space.
Yeah, so it was like family style, so that was the cool part. But it kept coming in droves, bro. Like different types of steak, different types of chicken. They even brought turkey at one point. Oh, it was rice, it was fries. It was just like, yo,
and was this more of a red card, green card situation, or just the way it was set up? That's how I was just gonna keep me in.
It was the way it was set up, man. Like they kept coming with, they kept coming with this contraption. Y'all, I don't know the name of this stuff, but like all of the the meat was on that shit, and they would ask you if you want it, and then they would just bring it down, put it on your plate. And then there was times where they would slice the meat, and then you just grab it. It was just like, yo, at one point, my wife looks at me at the other end of the table like, I got all of this food. Now, the crazy thing about it, though, you can't take like a doggy bag. Yo.
The Brazilian spots where I mean, eat as much as you can. It's like a buffet kind of style, but it's piece by piece. You don't play that doggy bag shit, bro.
Yo.
I seen a couple get pulled over to the side. Lady had, purse was a lot bigger on the exit than it was in the car. They said, "Well, man, what you got in the purse?" She's like, "You're not touching my purse, man." You know what I mean? But she had to take the Tupperware out of there. They caught her.
Oh man, amazing. Yeah, because she was saying yes to everything, thinking that she was gonna get a doggy bag. Didn't happen.
Look crazy end of the night. You got mad food on your table. Like, you thought you was gonna eat all that? It's like minimum of only gonna take half of this home, but my bad.
Yeah, man.
Game today for me.
Yeah, that's a fact. But yeah, man, food was really good, man. Everything was good. But one thing I will say is, we didn't bring Darius with us. But before I get into why, have you noticed that your kids' attendance at events is changing?
The older my kids get and the more they are involved with electronics and stuff, they're there, but they're not here. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
They're there with the head down, just no one's talking to them unless there's a specific question about school or sport or what you're doing this weekend. But other than that, they're on the phone, just minding their business, and it's like they're there, but you just kind of ignore them after a while.
Yeah,
I hate that. But they don't want to contribute to the conversation either. And it's funny, as when you were a kid, like the adults didn't really talk to the kids much neither at the adult function. So kind of playing their role shit. Back then we ain't even had no phones. At least they got phones now. But it's a get it. It's a growing of the times kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, I feel like and it's right on point with Black History Month. I feel like a lawyer for him sometimes. Like, yo, he don't need to go everywhere. Like, let's stop forcing him to go places. And my wife's like, no, he needs to get out of the house. I'm like, you gonna keep forcing these attendances down on him, like
the more you force the kids to go, the more they don't want to go in the future.
Yo,
that's how it was at church. Unfortunately, every Sunday was mandatory. As soon as I missed 1 or 2, and I felt like the choice was there, I was like, nah, I ain't doing this. No more.
Yeah.
So you want to push them, but not over the edge.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I feel you.
Got a question for you. Like, back in back in the day, and our playing days, as far as back in high school and some college, being the away team at these senior nights or these homecoming things, like they're bittersweet when you're the away team. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it always feels like the other squad has a better situation, surroundings, music is better, DJs, everything seems to be a lot better, personal home experience.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, you see all the presentations, all the lights getting low, the mascot coming out doing backflips and shit. You just kind of like, go ahead, man, soak this in. As the away team, you're like, yo, ooh, watching this game start. You know what I'm saying? You just got so much animosity. Like, yeah, I can't wait to shut this whole crowd up.
Yeah.
Man, but you gotta understand, these senior nights and game nights, they pick their opponent months in advance. You know what I mean? Just assuming like this should be an easier ride for us. You hope, I mean, you don't want the seniors going out on a sour taste in their mouth. So you kind of, not that you picked the team that didn't have the greatest share, but someone you feel you could take.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They kind of, you've been set up. You know what I'm saying? This past week, my baby's team, we was the setup team.
Oh,
they had the lights going. The DJ was, everybody in the crowd was dancing and moving before the game started. I got caught bopping to a few joints. So I was like, damn, I'm not here for y'all, man. I'm here for my team. You know what I mean? Hey, man, first quarter was good. We held our own. He was down a little bit, but it's like, hey, the crowd kind of minimized a little bit. But as the game went on and the score just got outlandish at some point, like the crowd just kept getting louder. You start looking at these little kids in the crowd like, hey, where's your parents at, man? They're just being a little disrespectful now when we on the foul line. You know what I mean? But have you ever had the experience of going into a hostile environment under sports?
Yeah, man. So playing like in tournaments, like when we would go to, I remember playing at Bellevue Park in the city. I remember going to the Bronx. Shit, even here in Brooklyn, playing in Brownsville Rec. You know what I mean? Like it was just, there were some places, man, you just hope you made it out of the actual park.
All your limbs.
Yeah, man.
Days required.
That's it. Like, I'm just here to play ball. Y'all talking about survival. Like,
yeah, it's not even about these points no more.
Nah, it's not.
To get to the train.
It's really not. Yeah, that's it, man. It's like mom made meatloaf, bro. I'm trying to get home.
All of
that. Oh yeah, man. But hey, man, listen, just go with the theme of things, man. The other day I forgot what I was looking at, but like they were comparing different fashion brands, and I was like, yo, imagine if we could bring back a fashion brand that was like really popping when we was young. So I thought about what would I bring back if I missed it, and what would I bring back that I was able to like partake in, right? So as far as what I missed, I would want to bring back Evisu.
Okay, now you're talking young to the point where you're able to get your own clothes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was weird. Us being younger, like we liked the expensive stuff.
Yeah.
We ain't had a job yet.
Right.
You know
right.
Yeah. Personally, I thought at the beginning of this question, I was like, all right, when we were young, I'm like, yeah, my Oshkosh B'gosh jumper was everything. I had the one strap off, you know what I'm saying? I was cool.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford it, you know what I'm saying? But
right.
Oshkosh coming back would have been super dope to see it an adult lens.
Yeah.
But having some money, man, yeah, Visa was the shit.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I think Jay-Z fucked me up with that. You know what I'm saying? I should have known what a visa was at my age. You know what I'm saying? And then right after that, I rolled into Iceberg for a quick season or two. I was just like, oh, this is nice, man. The quality's better. You know what I'm saying? This ain't Oshkosh, nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was a good days, but I would love to bring one of those back for sure.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I couldn't afford the Vizu era. Like I remember that song. Like these ain't diesel, nigga. These is the Vizu. I was like, hold up. He ain't on the phone yet, so he was on the computer.
On this internet.
Yeah, man. And I saw that price point. I was like, ooh. These ain't Levi's.
Levi's holding up.
Yo, man. Hell yeah,
yeah. Good days.
Yeah, man.
You remember Red Monkey?
Yo.
The
Papoose.
Gino Green Global, Mr. Pat. Those had to be some of the toughest like jeans. I'm not talking as far as like the look of tough, but the physical feel.
Yo,
it was cardboard putting those jeans on. Like if you have it, like starch was never necessary. Red Monkey jeans if you happen to get a pair. But I don't think I miss them too much. I don't miss those too much.
Yeah, I would definitely bringing Vizu back, man. I'd get down with that for sure.
I remember. I don't know if my brother knows the story, but back in my young days, this is post Oshkosh, pre Vizu / Iceberg being able to buy. But my brother had this baby blue Versace pullover joint with a zipper at the top.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, it got caught up in the regular wash and dry, and it got dried up. And you can't fit it no more. So it's like, you want this? I was like, oh, it should fit. This Versace? Yeah, I was the man in school that week. I wore that shit like 3 times that week. I didn't care. I was just like, nigga, it's Versace. Shut up. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't know if you ever remember that story, but yeah, man, that was good time.
Yeah, so I got a funny story too, man. So I don't know. It was one weekend you spent the night, right? And you left, I think, to go do something. And it was a game at my college that day. So you had the Vizu pants at the time, and you left them here. So I was like,
So we both about 32 back then.
Yo, I threw them shits on. Same way you felt like the man in school. Yo, I walked through that. I think I went to the bathroom like 3 times just so everybody could see I had the Vizu pants.
Slow too. Walking hella slow to scoot up these hallways. So yo, you call me? I do these spin around for anybody that needs.
That's it, man. Hell yeah. All right, so we're so happy to have you here for today's episode, man. Just make sure you go subscribe, check us out on all the socials. But the whole purpose of today's show is to talk about, of course, Black history, many of the ways you can support, you can collaborate, you can donate, but also the simple fact that it's fucking exhausting being Black, bro.
It is like being Black on its own right, as far as just dealing with the outside world, whether it be your tint's a little too dark, or, you know what I mean, that hoodie's a little too big for you.
Right,
you know what I mean? You gotta deal with those everyday kind of struggles and things we kind of move around, but just keeping up being Black is a job in its own right that's severely underpaid, as far as making sure you are aware of all things, making sure you are caught up in all the events that's happening this month. Like, they keep evolving, and I'm out of calendar space. I'm out of calendar space.
That's a fact, man. It's exhaustion sometimes, and we talked about it before with tokenism. You are the token Black guy at work. So if there's a new dance, if there's a new song, all the people come to you. It's like, hey, man, teach me how to Dougie. It's like, nah, nigga, I can't.
If you're coming to me for teaching skills, you are not in the right department.
That's right.
You do that shit up on the 3rd floor.
That's right. Absolutely.
I don't play that shit. But I say no often when it comes to that at the job, just because I don't want to get involved and I don't want it to become a habit. Well, The Last Dance, Kenny knew. Let's see if he knows this one too. No. He never knows. He's always. I think he talks it after work, but he doesn't know it. You know what I mean? I distance myself from that part of the combo.
Yeah, that's a fact, man. Sometimes you got hit with the Master P. Nah.
Facts, often.
But listen, as we get into the show, first thing we want to start off with is sending our condolences on the passing of Dexter Scott King. I believe he was the youngest son of MLK.
Yes, I believe he was.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he passed away from prostate cancer, and it's interesting to see, how the King legacy has remained amongst many things that MLK did himself, but his kids carrying on the legacy, talking about being in the household, watching their father be an activist, be a freedom fighter, and then their contributions to the work as well. So just sending
Shout out to
condolences
the King
there.
family. Yes, I'm okay, man. I don't want to see nobody in his family go away, but gotta pay respect when respect's due.
Absolutely,
For
man.
those that don't know, man, Black History Month. Every February or so, the United States honors the contributions and sacrifices of African Americans who have helped shape the nation. It celebrates rich cultural heritage and the adversities that are pretty much part of the country's history. You can't have this part without that part, unfortunately. You know what I mean? And I was curious to know why February was the month, like there's 12 of them. Like, why we got the shortest month? Like, you know what I'm saying? I always had those kind of inclusions, but it turns out it was chosen primarily because the second week of the month coincides with the birthdays of both Abraham Lincoln as well as Frederick Douglass. If you know, Abraham Lincoln was an influential part of the emancipation of slaves, and Douglass, being a former slave himself, was a prominent leader in the abolishment of that movement. So they kind of combined those two birthdays that was celebrated in the beginning of February and made it a whole month over time. But that's Black History Month in a nutshell. Since then, though, it's become a lot bigger, a lot more knowledgeable, and a lot more backstory has happened to come across it as we got older and had more, knowledge at our fingertips.
Yeah, absolutely. Like any typical, I would say, monthly celebration, you see companies make specific strategic marketing towards it. You see schools, of course, try to highlight significant figures. But I think the driving point you'll get from this episode is that it shouldn't just be February, y'all. It should be throughout the year and continuously that way. But thank you for that history, man. I really didn't know that.
Man. FCP, man. We do what we can when we can.
Absolutely, man. February is also Heart Health Month. As you can see, strategically, we have red shirts on in recognition of Heart Health Month, because we wear red on February 2nd, which will be tomorrow, in recognition of cardiovascular disease. And, if you are an avid listener of FCP, we always talk about making sure you check on your health. Gentlemen, I can, and women too. Listen, especially being Black, we are up there in the numbers as far as hypertension, heart disease. So I can't tell you enough to make sure you're eating right. Make sure you go get those checkups, man. You never know.
Yeah, man, 40's coming up. I got a couple things I got to get off that list that I've been able to kind of avoid up until now, but it's coming up. So
yeah,
I got to get my cheeks ready, man. No pause on that one. Man. I'm talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
I just don't want to talk about it.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah, man. So switching lanes into the FCP Sports Corner, man. Just keeping it Black. We're gonna do that throughout this episode. LeBron James, man, 20-time All-Star officially here for 2024. How you feeling about this?
If you didn't call him the king before and you kept like dodging the acronym for him for the last 20 or so years, you can't really avoid it at this point in time anymore. And, you know what I'm saying? He's the king of the All-Star at the bare minimum. You don't want to call him the king of anything else. But 20 times is an impressive feat. I asked earlier off mic, I was like, he's made it every year he's been in the league, right? And unfortunately, he found out his rookie year he didn't make it. So we got hits on you niggas that didn't vote my man in on year number one. You know what I'm saying? We're looking for them names. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yo, congrats to Bron, bro. 20 years, like if they still doing that whole pin per year thing on the jacket, it's gonna be weighing down. It's gonna be weighing down some head when they do the announcement. But when you first heard it, did it make sense to you? Do you feel like is it deserving? Of course.
Oh yeah, I think what he does for the game is it's just rightfully so. It's just one of those like names at this point.
Hmm.
But his game is proven. I think you have to make the case, and I love this statement: if not him, then who? And
That's a fact.
it's you go down the line for anybody in the West that you think got snubbed, who would replace LeBron? And then you got to look at the year and say where did it happen, how is it happening, but it's an amazing feat, man. And I think one of the coolest things about it is you think about who's had an equivalent run like this, and it looks like from the research I did, only the NHL's Gordie Howe
Hmm.
and Major League Baseball's Hank Aaron have
Damn.
played in more all-star games.
And neither have played neither sport in some decades.
Yeah.
This has been a I won't say a untested record,
Mm,
but because it's more of a time machine versus a skill.
mm.
Because the greatest of the greats are awesome, but to show in every year and keep that greatness up is a feat within itself. So
Yeah.
this is another round of him battling Father Time and winning.
Mm.
Hey man, he passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who used to have the old record, as I think at 19, but him having 20, it just puts that extra notch on his belt that Jordan ain't got. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, here we
I'm
go.
just saying.
Here we go.
You know what I mean? If not him, then who? You know what I'm saying? It's got to be somebody.
Jordan.
Definitely not his kids. But Jordan.
Yeah, no, yeah, no.
She said, "Fuck the kids."
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So we got Sharon Moore. He was named the new coach of the Michigan Wolverines. For anybody who is a NCAA football aficionado, you'll know that Jim Harbaugh, right? Is
Jim was
yeah, because I always mess the Harbaugh brothers up. I'm so sorry, fellas. But Jim Harbaugh officially is the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers now,
Mm-hmm.
and the Michigan Wolverines wasted no time appointing their offensive coordinator and offensive line coach, Sharon Moore, to head coach. And it's cool because during, I believe, Harbaugh's suspension last season.
Allegedly, you know what I'm saying? They put some dirt on my man's name. They kind of pushed the suspension button a little quicker than any other trial run. But I'm sorry. Go ahead, continue.
Very true, very true. Sherrod Moore went 4-0 in Harbaugh's absence, and you can really see that he has the pulse of the team. They
Absolutely.
love him even during that national championship game. You saw him on the sidelines, very much engaged. And hey, listen, man, is this a smooth transition?
Smooth transition. It's about as smooth as Antonio's was. Like, you know what I mean,
Yeah,
over in the NFL. But hey, wasting no time. We got a national championship. We ain't even
that's
get the
it.
rings made yet, but we got a new coach here. We're
Mhm.
losing our quarterback, unfortunately, due to Father Time. He only played for so many years in NCAA.
Yeah,
But he will run the helm and keep things running. Hey,
yeah.
try to go for a back to back. Technically, he's undefeated this year too. So
Yeah. Very true, very true. It's just staying on that real quick, man. You got Sharon Moore. We can't forget about prime time.
Mm-hmm.
You look over in the NFL, you got D'Amico Ryans on the come up.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Mike Tomlin legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are we starting to see the shift?
We are. The Rooney Rule is really taking effect.
Mm-hmm.
But the skepticism in me every time there's a black coach, I'm happy for, but I'm like, is this a diversity hire on purpose, or is this just he was the best man for the job? And
Yeah.
listen, 9 times out of 10 that he is the best man for the job.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But that little, it's just me being skeptical.
Yeah.
I always feel like, was it done not out of spite, but to kind of stick it to those guys? See, we're not who you thought we were. We like everybody here too. You know what I mean? I just those lines are very gray. You know what I'm saying? But hey.
All right, man. So, as we move along, man, going into the entertainment section, once again, keeping it black, man. Pay equity has been a very big issue in I would say, underrepresented racial groups,
Mhm.
but most notably lately, you probably have seen Taraji P. Henson,
Yeah,
talking about the tremendous wage gap for black actresses, man.
yeah. Like not that's not a story that we all don't know about, but it sucks when you hear Taraji do it because we all feel like we grew up with Taraji at this point. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And her not getting her worth for what she's been contributing to this culture is just. It's just not. I don't think we're going to tolerate it for too much longer.
Yeah.
50 already has come to the forefront, stating, "Yo, whatever we're doing, you want to get down, let us know. We're going to pay you what you need to." And 50 has been at the helm as far as making sure anybody under the green light system gets paid what they are worth,
Yeah.
because it's important. And if any one of our heroes, so to speak, take a step back to secure a role for for a lesser value, it's tough for the next person to ask for more when the person that's better than you didn't get as much. So at some point they gotta break that terrible cycle. But Taraji going through it is just the worst of people for me. It feels like.
Yeah, man. Viola Davis has also been vocal. We remember back in 2019, Monique actually sued Netflix
Mhm.
for unlawful discrimination for being paid less for her comedy special than other male comedians at that.
Mhm.
So it's definitely something that's been out there. Angela Bassett has talked about it. And as soon as Taraji came forward, you saw videos from Gabrielle Union. Amanda Seals has been talking about all of these inequities for a long time. But a recent Vibe article was talking about pay inequality is a global issue. Absolutely true.
Mhm.
Affecting women and marginalized communities, as you heard me mention earlier, for centuries. Even in 2023, the pay gap between men and women and people of color couldn't be more blatant.
Mhm.
And it goes into what Taraji P. Henson was calling it within the entertainment business. So yeah, I mean, I read an article the other day where it was talking about, as much as you would think that things have gotten better, it's the gap, right? So
Mhm.
even if they raise the salary for women in certain positions that women get, they're raising men's salaries too. So the gap still stays there. And it's pretty significant, especially in the healthcare field, in the physician level, surgeon level, and then they talk about it's like at those high education levels and then the low education levels.
Mhm.
And this is their terminology, not mine, right? Just because you have, let's say, a transport job in the healthcare system, it doesn't mean that you have a low education.
Mhm.
But even in those fields, the gap is different between women and men, right?
Mhm.
I think the only way you can probably find equality is in a union because everybody in a specific title gets paid the same.
Correct.
So it's very troublesome.
Yeah, actors and actresses working outside of a union and kind of being independent contractors, so to speak. Their agent fights for them to the best of their ability.
Yeah.
And it's weird, similar, very unorthodox, like in the NFL. Not to bring it to a separate non-black gentleman, but Tom Brady took a pay cut in order to make sure everybody else on the team was able to keep coming back and keep this thing going.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if Leonardo DiCaprio is willing to do that on his next feature film, but
Mm,
that would help limit the gap a bit.
right.
If lower your pay to increase others working on the same film as you.
Hmm.
That's the only way to really do it. Because, like you said, you give her a 20% bump. Beware for him not to get a 20% bump if the movie did that well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it has to be some sort of cap on that in order for that to catch up.
Yeah.
So I just don't know how far in the future that will be, but
Yeah.
we shall see, man. We shall
Right.
see.
And the biggest threat to that is always, what about me? But you said it perfectly. Sacrifice for the greater good.
Mhm.
It goes a long way.
Facts.
But it's beautiful because that takes us right into our main topic, man. We are, it is Black History Month. And, first disclaimer, we are not healthcare educators as far as DEI work. And, it's talking about Black History Month. We are not activists. We are simply two Black men who are exhausted.
Fact.
And we
Big
just,
time.
you
Big
know what I
time.
mean? We are dads, we are professionals, we are husbands. And but at the root of what we were before all of that, we were just Black men
Mhm.
trying to survive in this world. And when you think about the civil rights movement, bro, like what does that mean for you?
The fact that it had to happen, even though abolishment kind of went to place, kind of sucked because even throughout it all, it felt like it was a win,
Mm-hmm.
but it still feels like a win with like an asterisk on it.
Mm.
Because granted, some laws might have went our way to work in our favor. The stigma behind it still kind of remained, and there's no law to change that stigma or someone's opinion or to change the way they were raised. If they were raised one way versus another way that'd be more beneficial to today's society. So that those two forces always kind of fight each other, like what the law is versus what the person that's running the law is thinking. You can't control that, so it feels like it's a win with an asterisk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. It's we could give you all a long rundown of what we, saw on Wikipedia or what you can go look up online. But really is exactly to Kenny's point, right? You see the struggle, you see the history, you see the successes, but with every success, what really did we lose? Because
Yeah.
there's always going to be that the the grander scale of what we're trying to achieve, but the underlying laws that prevent that from being a full success, man. So I remember, Black history was actually first introduced to me through my brother. Shout out to my brother Tony. He was a very big history buff, always reading. So a lot of the stuff I would know before I got in class, but it never really stuck with me because, I was so busy worried about girls and playing with toys and shit like that. And then, of course, as I get older, video games and looking cool, that it really didn't hit me all how important learning about this history was
Mhm.
because I was going to be in a pretty much a fight that I didn't even sign up to be in, but inherently
Yeah,
I'm in.
yeah, and very similar to me. Like, unfortunately, I didn't have the ability to kind of catch up on Black history at the house. I learned it all in school. And,
Mm,
in the early grades, first, second grade, even probably fake kindergarten. February was Black History Month, where it kind of shined the light on the importance of Black history. But once March kind of rolled around as a kid, it's March, new month, new ideas, new things going on. So I didn't really focus on it, and not that I didn't care much about it, but it wasn't at the forefront. And
mhm.
being younger in grade school, everybody looked like me. The
Yeah,
teacher looked like me. So everybody, not that there wasn't much to discriminate against because we all felt like we were all in the same pool. You
right.
know what I mean? I didn't really pay attention to it until I got a lot older. And I started seeing white teachers teach Black history classes and kind of felt weird. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know if you could relate. Like, I know you've read a lot more books than I have on the same exact topic.
Yeah.
But for me to tell someone who she's there or he was there for a reason, they studied this through college, and so I
Mhm.
felt the need to teach the youth now. But it just I feel like a disconnect. It's like I appreciate you taking the time to learn about my history,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure if I want to receive my history from you. And that was wrong of me as a kid. It doesn't matter who you get the education from, as long as it's being education that's truthful, honest, and factual.
Mhm.
But as I got older and started to see, diversity and some things of exclusion taking place, that's when it really kind of clicked for me. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this isn't supposed to be this way. And there are
Yeah.
ways to change this, but what has to happen in order for that change to actually take effect? You know what I mean? It kind of
Yeah.
was more like every time I turned the corner, was a new light bulb. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, I didn't really notice, or it didn't really hit me. So I got older, probably like my mid to late teens.
Yeah. So I think it hit me, I would say early 20s, with encounters with law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
Just from when I first got my driver's license, getting pulled over for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one time they pulled me over just because they didn't recognize my car. Like I can't
I
help
never
that,
done that.
like I didn't even know how to respond to him. Like it was just like it was honest. He literally came up and he said, "Honestly, bro, we've never even seen this car before, so that's why we pulled you over." And he said it laughing. And I'm looking at him like, "Dude, I'm late for work. Like,
Is
what
this,
are you
is
talking
this, is
about?"
this important yet? Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Is there anything else is there a real reason I got pulled over yet?
yeah.
Other than you don't know every car made in America? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
that's
And,
rough.
and listen, we have family that is in law enforcement, so
Mhm.
we're not here bashing
No,
all law enforcement people, but let's be real, guys. There is a issue when it comes to Black people and encountering law
yeah.
enforcement. Um, and we know it goes both ways sometimes,
Hmm.
but a large percent of the time, there's only one way, and
Yeah.
it usually ends up fatal or very harmful on the
That's,
civilian side.
and
so,
it sucks because it's usually a few bad apples ruins the whole kind
yeah,
of bunch. You know what I mean? But those bad apples always happen to be the ones pulling over.
always.
So every pullover story kind of starts and ends the same way. Where it's like, yo, I don't know
Right.
why I'm here. It's like
Yeah.
now I'm in the back seat with cuffs. It's like, you know what I mean? It's always that same unfortunate, like beginning to conclusion.
Mhm.
But yeah, those few apples can make it bad for everybody.
Yeah, yeah, and the one thing I do know is that now in being involved in the diversity, equity, and inclusion work at my job, the most exhausting part of it is when the bottom line supersedes the actual
Purpose.
ethical, purpose, exactly the
Hmm.
purpose behind the work we do. And we talked about this plenty of times, the DEI decline, and how now the bottom line, the revenue is taking precedent over actually going through with all the stuff that these companies said they were going to do on equal opportunity, on health disparities, on
Hmm.
black maternal health. I mean, it's amazing just to see it blatantly happen. Just to go back to what Taraji said, the blatant significant gap is there, and it's almost like, well, what do you want us to do about it? Like,
Yeah, it's like, and as black people, like we're not big on disrespect.
right?
So when it feels like when you felt you did all you had to do or needed to do to be respected in your craft or field or whatever it is that you're enduring, and it's still not working out in your way, it feels like a big slap in the face.
Yeah.
So like I said, blacks and disrespect, they really don't fuck with each other too often. So whether it be a pay situation or you getting over on me, and as far as another version of it,
Yeah.
not a fan of it. Not a
Yeah.
fan of it.
I agree, man. I wholeheartedly agree. So another, key thing about being a part of the DEI work, diversity, equity, and inclusion, is learning about the thousands of awareness days that exist, not just for every other awareness, but just for Black people. So there are plenty of them. We
Hmm.
did not have enough time to research all of
Nah,
them.
not
That's
at
how
all.
many there are.
Not at all.
But we will mention a few. So, Kenny, kick us off.
Listen, I hate to be that guy, but I found out about 6 hours ago that there is an actual Black Awareness Day. And
Mm,
I was like, when we first had the topic, I was like, oh wow, let me see. I'm curious to know what other awareness. Like, all we know is February.
yeah.
So I'm looking, did some research. I'm like, oh, November 20th. There's an actual Black Awareness Day.
Mhm.
It's been celebrated since the 1960s. Originally celebrated on May 13th. It was to recognize the abolition of slavery in Brazil, but it was later moved to celebrate the death of Zumbi das Palmares. He was a leader and one of the pioneers of the resistance in slavery of Africans by the Portuguese in the colonial portions of Brazil.
Mm.
But the fact that there is a Black Awareness Day, like verbatim, I was just like, damn, like where have I been that this is
Yeah.
not, granted it's not on the calendar, it's not something that you would see, but with, thank God for the internet and having all this knowledge at your fingertips, you're
Yeah.
able to just come across things that you find out every day, it feels like. But
Mhm.
yes, November 20th is Black Awareness Day. And it is mainly in part because slavery in Brazil was abolished around that time.
Mhm.
um that's a new one for me. Never heard it. Never heard it.
Yeah, to know this has been around for what, like 64 years now. Well, about to be 64 years. That's wild.
Nuts. Nuts.
That's wild. We also found out in April there's two sets of celebrations. It's actually National Minority Health Month. If you
Mhm.
are an avid listener of FCP, we talk about fetal maternal health and how important it is for medicine to catch up with the needs of Black women, and some of them unfortunately die just trying to give birth
Mhm.
because of the lack of attention to their health needs, or even in postpartum support after they give birth, or even trying to have a baby. It's just really, really, I think HHS, Health and Hospitals out here in New York City, actually called it a national health crisis, and they're donating a lot of money into providing better care for them. Also, April 11th through the 17th is actually Black Maternal Health Week. Just tying everything in, man. You
Mhm.
see how this show is flowing. It's like a symphony right now.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And
Oh,
Black maternal, we need more than a week, but I hear you.
yo, I
I
think
hear
the
you.
ladies would agree with that
Hey,
one.
7 days ain't enough, bro. It's not enough. It's
Hell
definitely
yeah.
not enough.
Yeah. And then the obvious one that Kenny gave you a great detail on is Black History Month, right? Our 28 or 29 days, you know what I mean? To celebrate being us, celebrate our struggles, celebrate our exhaustion, celebrate the fact that we are still undervalued, underappreciated, but the most copied culture in the world. And it's disgusting, but every day we fight.
Every fight, every fight, and I do our during the research, was there any of these days that kind of shook you by surprise or something you just didn't know about?
Learning that there was a National Day of Racial Healing.
I'm sorry, what?
There's actually a National Day of Racial Healing. It is actually the day after MLK Day. So if you don't know, MLK Day is the third Monday of every January. But yeah, the next day is the National Day of Racial Healing.
How does would you happen to know how one celebrates that?
For me, it would be really nice to get a massage
Okay, okay.
from white people, but like 3-4 white women. Like, get in. I need you to work out these knots in my back, man.
Yes, I have a lot of tension in my upper thighs. So I need to work those lats out. Oh, goodness.
I'm just kidding with ladies.
No jokes.
I
No
got nothing but
jokes.
love for
Yes,
everybody.
you got some comedy skills. Too.
Yeah, but yeah, man, there's that day. But then of course, MLK Day, you know what I mean? That's our guy. But I wanted to kind of pause here because there's a lot of interesting conversations I've been having, and shout out to the fellas who are a part of Goals ERG at my job. Always learn a ton from them. One of my men, Ronald Powers, talked about the fact that on MLK Day they always talk about celebrating and honoring servitude.
Okay.
And if you think about that, right, servants,
Mm-hmm.
it's like the professional word for slavery. You know what I mean? When that's not who MLK was in any way. He was a advocate for justice, a freedom fighter, activist. Nothing about MLK was about servitude.
No,
but
he only served this color.
Yeah.
If there was some sort of serving in his demeanor or his actions, he just served to help those that look like him.
Yeah, man. So that actually stood out for me. I luckily I even went back to a couple of my posts over the last couple of years around MLK to see if I even used that word. So that really resonated in my mind where it's like, yeah, that's crazy how they still find little foundational subliminal ways to keep us in that mindset.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a little caveat that we don't know about those 2 fucking weight.
Yeah, man.
But
yeah.
I don't know, I'm okay, bro. It's far from servant, but like you said, more freedom fighter than anything. That's what it was. That was his role.
Yeah.
I really hope that the earlier part of that just diminishes over time and not get highlighted as much as it is today.
Yeah, and then the other question, and I don't even know the answer to this, man, but I'm anxious to see what people put in the comments. Why is it that we have MLK Day and not Malcolm X?
You know what? No one in this country is like, listen, how many want to give them? You know what I mean? Because if you stop at Malcolm X, it's like, well, you ain't got a Rosa Parks Day. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's if you're gonna highlight activists that were great at what they did and unfortunately died at some point during their tenure, we'll have a lot of days, and I don't know if they're ready to give up all them days, because at that point, shit, we just got Juneteenth. You know what I mean? As far as a day that's celebrated, you know what I'm saying? Day that's actually a paid day work off. Not for me yet, but it's still a paid day off 85% of the nation. You know what I'm saying? 85. I did that. But yeah, I think they just kind of put a cap on it. And I don't know who the council is. I don't know who's in control of that. Making a new holiday a holiday. But I think that's what it was. More limits. More limits.
Yeah, man. It was a really good discussion with the fellas about that. And just, you think back to what Malcolm stood for and his presence and pretty much the way that he came after directly white men and named them blatantly. So it makes you think, was that kind of it? Like, are they still butthurt about being called out?
Yeah, he was pointing fingers. Martin, you got a mic, had a large crowd, and he kind of just spoke, not vaguely, but arbitrarily, so it could apply to any ethnicity.
Yeah.
Malcolm was pointing to white niggas. Like, it was you
right there.
Yeah, with the red hair. You right there. Like, he was getting it. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
It was just too in your face, I believe.
All right. All right, I can respect that. I can respect that. All right, so as we move things along, man, we're gonna go into the FCP appreciation segment right
Yes.
now, man, where we're just gonna honor some people who we feel deserve that recognition. Many of you do, but we're gonna pick one apiece. So for my contribution, man, it's gonna be Vivian Thomas. If you don't know who he was he started out as an orderly, saving up to actually go to medical school,
Mm.
but the banks crashed, and I found out that this was a typical thing that banks used to do back in the 1920s.
Black banks?
Yeah, no,
Interesting.
just banks, period.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you would put your money in the bank and they would just tell you they had no money. And you would lose everything that you had in there. There was nothing you could
Mm.
do about it. Nobody you could go because you had no money to go to the
Mm.
lawyer, right? That's
Mm.
what they gonna do. And that's actually what ended up motivating the FDIC insured banks now.
Copy.
So now if a bank loses your money, they now have to give you what they're
Somebody got
insured.
to pay me, man.
That's right.
That's a
That's
fact.
right.
Okay.
But Vivian Thomas, after this, he became a janitor, and he actually met Dr. Blaylock. And in connecting with him, he then became a laboratory supervisor. But he was very knowledgeable, and Dr. Blaylock, after a while, noticed how knowledgeable he was, and he started working very closely with him. He was a surgeon. So now, around this time, there was something called blue baby syndrome,
Okay.
and pretty much to leave out all the 50-point Scrabble words, it was basically poor oxygen coming out of the heart.
Okay.
So you would literally see the babies in a pale state.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So now Vivian actually came up with a unique procedure that was actually recommended by another doctor who was a pediatric cardiologist, and he actually created a procedure to actually reroute the blood flow.
Ah.
So he didn't get a lot of credit for a lot of other medical devices that he created as well.
Mhm.
But there is a movie called Something the Lord Has Made. Most Def stars as Vivian Thomas. He did
Okay.
a phenomenal job.
Shouts to most def.
You know what I mean? And it just really shows you how being black at that time, they really did not think that you were worth anything.
Mm.
You didn't have any knowledge. There's actually a scene in the movie, and got to be careful here because sometimes they add a little theatrics to it
Mm-hmm.
to make it interesting.
Got to Hollywood it up.
Right, but this looks like something that could actually happen. Vivian and Dr. Blaylock have a new space to start working on their research to
Mm-hmm.
create this procedure, and this white doctor sees Vivian in the room and asks him to go get coffee,
Mm-hmm.
and Vivian gives him the money back, like, I think you got me confused with somebody else. And the guy's like, I won't stand for this insolence, and he's looking at him like, I still don't know what you're talking about. I'm a professor here.
Not my job.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So that definitely sounds like some shit that could happen.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, people think, oh, you're the help. No, I'm not the help at all. I'm helping you.
Mhm.
More say so, but not to that capacity.
Yeah, man. But just to know, the actual first Black cardiologist who performed the first successful open heart surgery was Daniel Hale Williams. So it just shows you there's so many Black people that really paved the way for a lot of really, really cool things. There are a lot of surgeons who are actually using Dr. Thomas's procedure, and he actually, before he passed, received an honorary doctorate from Johns
Oh,
Hopkins, man. So for not going to medical school, but just really being ingrained in the work and being knowledgeable, they recognized him for that.
that's
So
what's
now
up.
his face is up there in the halls of Johns
That's
Hopkins.
what's up, man. Give me my plaque, man.
Yeah.
Did the work. Did all the hard work. Wish I gave him my flowers while I was here, but respect is still respect. So hopefully his family, they have something they can tip their hat to. That's what's up.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
what's up.
Mm-hmm.
On my side, she's a young activist in the world, so to speak. She's in her early 20s. I want to say 23. But Yari Shahidi. You may know her from more so. She's an American actress model, but she became famous, so to speak, from this show Grownish, and the spin-off Blackish. She played the oldest sibling, Zoe. Super attractive, sidebar, but she has become a voice for change for those and used her platform to advocate for social justice issues and promote diversity and inclusivity in the entertainment industry, as we were
Nice.
talking about earlier today.
Awesome.
And another thing I want to highlight with her was she was recently nominated for NAACP award for her work with the movie Sitting in Bars with Cake. It kind of revealed an experience of someone dealing with another loved one who unfortunately had to deal with cancer and in a terrible way.
Mhm.
But just showing that love for someone, that battle back and forth, and the turmoil that they go through, and the pain that it can cost one when you're just kind of experiencing it from a side view of it. You know what I mean? You're there, you could do all you can, but there's so much you could do at some point as well. So that film really kind of highlighted those highs and lows.
Mhm.
But the NAACP wants to recognize her for her efforts, and she's nominated for a pretty good award there. So hope she gets it. But shouts to her, man. Big fan.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, man. Definitely. Yeah, man. Definitely. So it wouldn't be right if we didn't end this with a really cool scenario question. And I thought very long about this. What way could we really appreciate Black culture and bring the history into it? So I thought of Spades. And instantly I think if anybody's watching this episode right now, when they think of Spades, they think about that last game, either with their best partner or with the worst partner they ever had, that hand that was phenomenal, or that hand that somebody messed up because they wasn't paying attention. All right, I'm gonna stop betting now, but
Part of the game, baby. Still part of the game. We here. Yeah.
But I thought it'd be cool, man, if you had to play Spades, as a game of Spades, to win reparations for all Black people. Which activists in history would you pick to play with you?
I had a partner I had to play with in Spades for the game of reparations.
This is for all the marbles, man. Reparations for all Black people.
Going Rosa Parks, B. Just because I know she's going to stand up on every card Spade she got when she cut me. You know what I'm saying? She like every time they told her to get up, she said, "Nah." But for this situation right here, we're gonna run these Boston on these fools. You know what I'm saying? Like I would go with Rosa Parks just because I think she'll bring a piece of tenacity. That, she always seems to be the very quiet, not forth spoken person. You know what I mean? She was very shielded with her demeanor, it seemed. You know what I mean? So hopefully this is the game will be a way for her to act out, kind of, get back to her roots a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's definitely standing up and slamming Spade cards down with
her. I believe you. I believe
who
you.
would you go with?
I think I'd go with Fred Hampton. I'd go with Fred Hampton just because I know he's gonna talk shit the entire game. He's gonna he's gonna get in niggas' heads. He gonna get them upset every time he cut them. He gonna be like, "You thought that was a book? You thought that was gonna be a book, didn't you, boy?" Like I can see it now. Like I think me and Fred will run to Boston on these niggas.
That's what we're here for. We're here to get these reparations back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it's so funny game. So shit, Rosa see Fred say, "What the fuck are these young niggas for?"
Oh shit!
I mean, you see that happen. Yeah. You know I mean? When you're not the OG at the Spades table, you gotta respect it. You gotta respect it as well.
They start looking at you like you crazy. Like, what you doing?
Yeah, so you ain't got 5, nigga. I got 5. You count stuff that don't count. Like,
And that's the most disrespectful shit in the world. Like, if I tell you I got 4 books, I got 4 books. Don't say, yeah, if you got 2 and I got 4, we're not going 4. That's disrespectful of me. Like
Grant only got 2, but I don't like the way you discredit him.
Yeah.
and they can hear us. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You disrespect me in front of the team.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Oh man. All right, that was good. That was good. All right, man. Before we wrap this thing up, man, any closing thoughts on you?
Listen, it's February. I think we have a leap year this year. Shouts to my boy TJ, end of the month, and John Teddy. I think he's the 28th. He celebrates the 28th, and my boy celebrates the first, but they both was like born on the 29th. So shouts to them. Listen, February's 29 days. You get the extra day this month, but don't let February be the end all be all for your education, for your knowledge, for your time to kind of dive into history and find out why you are who you are. You know what I'm saying? Let this be a step for you to go up. Let March be that month. Let April be that month. and continue it, man. And the more you carry on tradition within yourself, your kids, the youth around you, everybody else will pick up on that, and hopefully they'll start their own little dive into the history books as far as Black history is concerned. So don't let February be the end of your knowledge sinking in. Keep it going.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know how to follow that. I guess what I can add is if you're not a part of the solution, unfortunately, you are part of the problem. And I will explain. None of the progress that we are reaping the benefits from would have happened if people that came before us just put their heads down and stayed quiet.
Facts.
And if we are really focused and determined on creating a better future for our children, then we need to be a part of the solution. And, I love Ramel for saying this. We have to stop feeling like the world owes us something.
But they do.
I want my reparations.
Cash, please. Taxing us.
You know what I mean? But I definitely got where he was coming from, because the information is out there now. It's out there more than we ever thought it would be, and it's being taught by us as well. Some of it is free, y'all. Like some of it, like big shout outs to Earn Your Leisure, Ian the Master Investor. These guys are just giving out game for free, but if you really invest and put some money into it, they take you even deeper into the education. And there's plenty of other brothers really doing this as well. But I think it is that time that we start helping ourselves and support each other.
Yes.
And I'm gonna stay there for a bit, because I really need everybody to pay attention here. Every day you follow somebody who has no idea who you are. You repost their reels, you like their posts, you even look at all their movies, support their business, support their brand without hesitation. But then you will have somebody that you call your ace, your day one, your brother from another, or even your real brother, and you do not support them in the slightest. It's ridiculous, guys.
I never understood that, but I kind of understand it at the same time. Like, people feel like, oh, you know me, so you don't need me to help you. So no, I do. I need everybody.
Yeah.
But people kind of take that for granted, where it's like, hey, we know each other. You know, I'll do everything I can for you. Just don't tell everybody about it. It's like I need promotion. I need you to promote that. You know what I mean? They go, but you're not doing that. It's like, yeah, but I need everybody. It's like everybody else is doing it. I'm starting with you, brother. You know what I mean? People keep trying to find ways around doing something that they didn't know that they weren't doing. So you kind of just got to acknowledge it, see it in the face, and kind of change your ways about it.
I get it. I definitely get that too. And then for anybody who feels similar to me, then create your own network. To Kenny's point, there are just some people who do not have that capacity to support for whatever reason, right? And you give them the grace of understanding that's where they're at. Then look for a network of people who are supportive.
Correct.
And then you'll have your buckets, right? You'll have your friend base, and then you'll have your support base. And then from this function, from this network, will come all the support you're looking for.
Exactly.
So that's another caveat. But I'm not letting y'all off the hook. I'm not letting this friend base off the hook, because it is possible, guys. It is very possible. And like I said, if you're not a part of the solution, you're part of the problem.
Nobody wants to be that guy. But everybody signs up for this. It's weird. Everybody signs up for that team now.
Yeah, man. I guess it's a cheaper membership. I don't know.
Giving out Planet Fitness numbers. Nobody wants to go to Orange Theory. It's like, how much you want? Like, damn. 100 a month, and I might not go now. I'm gonna pay these niggas $3.99 and see what happens.
Yeah, man. Any other last thoughts, brother?
Hey, man, being black is exhausting. Keep waking up, keep fighting the fight. That's all I can say. Keep fighting the fight.
Yeah, man. Only thing I can add to that, man, start the morning off with a nice motivational speech video. Pour something back into you, because the day takes so much from you.
Well, just make sure it's not Hennessy in the morning. Save that. Save that.
Unless you're on vacation. If you're on vacation, then hey, listen.
To each his own.
Oh, man, listen, so bro, it was great to be back in person, man.
Energy's there, man.
Yeah.
It smells nice in here and everything. Man. I can't get mad.
Oh man, so listen, man. We want to thank you all for joining us. Once again, do not forget to subscribe to our channel. Make sure you like, comment. Make sure you go check out the merch store. There's still plenty of merch there. You can get your Freedom Cage gear. Follow us on all socials. Remember, we go live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. And then we also have the FCP Dad series, which is every third Wednesday of the month. It's been doing really good so far, man.
A lot of moments. You forget how many moments you had as a dad. Until you start reflecting, going, yeah, I remember this one too, and that one too. Yeah, it's been super dope. Very informative.
Yeah, man. This guy is 3 times in the game, so he was like, "You want to go 10 years ago? You want to go current state? He got you covered, man."
all these kids have internet. What you want to talk about? You know what I mean? Like, crazy.
Yeah, man. But listen, it is that unfortunate part of the show where we have to go, man. But you are now released back into your regularly scheduled programming. Corporate life, parental life, entrepreneurship, whatever it is that you do, we salute you. I'm Senor Lee.
I'm King Katnick.
See you back next pay week when we lock back in to a free state of mind.
Reparations.
In cash. Cash ball.